The gate was surrounded by some pretty fancy ironwork. I couldn't climb over. The archway was topped by a fancy balustrade. Oh, darn. I'd left my grappling hook at home. No way could I get up there. There was a dumpster full of debris. From the excavation, I guessed.
Hey, you! Get away from my dumpster!
The painter had a pot of gunmetal gray primer hanging from the barrier. The painter didn't seem to regard the painting as too important. Not as important as a cigarette break, anyway. Excuse me, could you help me?
What is it?
I've got a few questions. What does the word Templar suggest to you?
Templar?
Nothing.
Nothing.
You're doing a fine job.
Merci. I have my professional pride.
I don't think I've ever seen a Gauloise smoked so stylishly.
It's a natural talent.
I'm being sarcastic.
I'm being indifferent.
You're very good at that as well.
Merci. Vive l'indifférence.
So, what are you doing here?
I am having my break.
Yeah, I mean when you finish your break.
Oh, when I finish my break? An interesting concept, monsieur.
You'll probably need to think about it.
I could have another cigarette while I consider. Perhaps tomorrow too?
Okay, let me put things differently. What were you hired to do here?
I was hired to keep the archaeological dig in the basement of this building clear of debris, and to touch up damage to the door frames with my little pot of paint. It's a very responsible job. Unfortunately, I'm not a very responsible person.
So what do you know about the excavation?
I know they won't let me in to do my job. I would complain to my union, but là...
You couldn't be bothered to join.
Right. Tell you what, though. I'm surprised at the sort of people interested in this excavation.
What's unusual about the visitors to the excavation?
None of them look like archaeologists to me.
Do you know what an archaeologist looks like?
Three-piece suits, crocodile-eyed attaché cases, Rolex oyster.
But no archaeologist dresses like that.
Quite right, monsieur, quite right.
So, who are they?
Who cares as long as they pay me?
I have a red nose.
Imagine.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
Yes, it's a communion chalice. I know, you know, I used to be an altar boy.
You?
Yes, me. What's so funny about that?
Nothing. Have you seen this man before?
Yes, he asked me a lot of questions, just like you.
Has a guy calling himself Merlin been nosing around?
Was he wearing a t-shirt with "My name is Merlin" on it?
I doubt it.
Then how the hell am I supposed to know his name just by looking at him? Huh?
I've got a sewer key.
I used to work in the sewer.
Oh? What happened?
I had a cigarette break in a pocket of methane. A manhole cover landed on the other side of the Seine and I was sacked.
I have some plaster of Paris.
Amazing.
I was pretty sure the shaken shock had shot its bolt in Syria.
A greasy tissue. Don't get it too close to my cigarette, monsieur, or there'll be a conflagration.
Be seeing you.
Au revoir, monsieur.
The doorway was full of assorted old tea chests, cardboard boxes, and so on, all empty and all uninteresting. The doorway led to an old utility closet that had lost its door. There was nothing interesting in there. A dumpster with some debris in it. Yep, that was definitely debris. I couldn't see any use for a collection of dirt and half bricks. thermostat was mounted over a radiator. The radiator was pumping out heat as the thermostat was cranked right over to full. No wonder it was warm in here, even with the door open to the chill of fall. That guard had been put here to guard something. My guess was that the excavation was behind that door. I didn't think that the guard would just let me waltz past. Besides, I had a hunch that door was locked. A guard stood by a door I guessed led to the excavation. He looked pretty pompous. Well, not so much pretty, just pompous. There was a telephone on the far wall. There was a closed door with toilet scratched into the cheap veneer. There was a closed door with toilet scratched into the cheap veneer.
That door is locked, monsieur.
Hi? Excuse me?
Oui?
What do you know about the Knights Templar? There was a long pause during which the guard said nothing. Then he said,
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
Is this a test?
What, like a history pop test?
No, like a test.
Okay, yes, it's a test.
Then I know absolutely nothing about the Templars.
The guard was being amazingly evasive. It was going to take more than goodwill to get past him. It sure is hot in here.
I have to have the door open to allow the workmen access, so why not? I turn the heat up.
You could wrap up warm.
I have my gloves if it gets cold, but why bother when it's warm anyway?
So, what exactly are you doing here?
I'm guarding. You expect to find me shearing sheep?
Take it easy. I just didn't realize you were a guard. I'd like to know what you're guarding, please.
That's a secret.
It wouldn't happen to be an archaeological site, would it?
Are you asking me or telling me?
I'm telling you.
Then why ask?
I had a feeling this was no normal hole in the ground. Trying to get into a locked washroom. I had the strongest feeling of déjà vu. I'd like to use the washroom, but the door's locked.
Oh, that's no problem. You can have the key.
Thanks. I've got a red nose.
Oh.
I thought better of showing him the chalice. He might be on the conspiracy's payroll, and I didn't want to risk it.
Oui? You have...
A sudden urge to sing. Care to join me?
No, no singing in here.
Have you seen this man before?
Oh.
You have.
No.
Do you recognize this name?
Merlin. No.
This gadget is a sewer key.
So it is.
I got this plaster from Ireland.
Not an exciting souvenir.
I was going to have to get rid of this thing. It was dead. Look, a tissue stained with grease paint.
Ah, just what I've always wanted. If you give me that, you can enter through the door.
Really?
Of course not. What would I want with an old tissue?
Talk to you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
On the keyring was a big old key that looked like it might fit the excavation door. A bin stood in the corner. It didn't look like it had been emptied for a while. I wasn't that interested in what might go into a restroom's garbage to investigate. I didn't need to get near to tell the toilet needed cleaning. Being in a charming comfort station like this made me think fondly of the toilet in Syria. That place was kept in pretty good order. At least, it had been until I vandalized it. Still, it was all for a good cause. There was a big old boiler used for heating the building. The thing felt really hot. Big demands seemed to be being made on it. The shovel used to feed the furnace was stuck into the pile of coal. Capacious as my pockets were, I didn't figure I could cram a shovel in them. A huge pile of coal lay in the corner to fuel the boiler. Real high-tech stuff. I didn't want any coal. A filthy wash basin hung on the wall. I didn't want to use that unless I really had to. The taps were rusty. Oh boy! The cold taps washer looked to have failed. It was just dribbling down the sink. Oh boy! Dirty soap! How do they do that? A hand dryer was mounted on the wall. If the Club Alamat had used one of these instead of a roller towel, I'd probably still be stuck in Marib. There was a ventilation grill up in the wall. I could have climbed onto the sink, prized the ventilator cover loose, wedged myself into the tiny hole, smashed the far cover out, and plunged headfirst into the next room. Or I could just go through the door like a sane person. It was the bar of soap I'd stolen from the washroom of the excavation site. I made an impression of the big key in the cake of soap. I carefully sprinkled the plaster into the soap mold I'd made of the key. Well, it had taken a while, but I had made myself a completely unconvincing plaster key, way too fragile to use in a lock. I'd have to substitute it for the real one. Trouble was, it looked like plaster and not metal. Then again, that plaster statue in Syria hadn't looked like stone until I'd been a bit artful with it. Maybe I could improve the key as well. It was my plaster copy of the excavation key. Trouble was, it looked like plaster, and it felt like plaster.
Hey, monsieur, don't go with my keys. What is it?
Here's the keys. Thanks.
Merci, monsieur.
Hey, monsieur, get away from my paint pot.
Okay.
I should think so. Meddling with a man's paint pot. Puh.
Do you mind if I use the phone?
Be my guest. I'm paid to guard this door. The phone can look after itself.
Kular.
Hi, Nico. It's me. I'm at the excavation site.
Hi, Georges. What's happening?
I'm at the excavation, but they won't let me in.
Damn. We need to know what's in there.
Don't worry. I've got a scheme. I'm going to need your help, though.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
I want you to keep somebody on the phone for a while.
Who?
A painter. I need to get at his pot.
Oh, okay.
Stay on the line. I'll go and get him. Hi, it's me again.
What now?
You've got a phone call.
For me? Are you certain?
It's a woman. She sounded hot.
What woman? She must be mistaken, monsieur.
Well, she asked for that hunk of a man with the nicotine fingers and his ass hanging out of his pants.
Certainly sounds like me. Stand back. It wouldn't do to keep the lady from her hunk.
The plaster key had soaked up the paint nicely, and now looked pretty convincing. Still felt like plaster, though.
Well, monsieur, what a strange woman. She was all over me, and then suddenly, nothing but abuse.
Really?
What? Abuse? Ah well, I have a cigarette to finish. And monsieur, if she calls again, I am not available.
Hi again.
What is it?
I need to use the toilet again.
Again? Already?
I have this problem. How technical do you want me to get?
Never mind. Here's the key.
Talk to you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Quickly and without fuss, I swapped the fake key for the real thing. Now, I'd substituted the fake key for the excavation key. It looked okay, but felt false.
I turned the heating off.
What is it?
I held my breath and hoped that he wouldn't notice the substitution. Here's the keys. Thanks.
Merci, monsieur.
Hi, Nico. It's me again.
I'd guessed. What do you want this time?
What did you say to the painter?
I shan't repeat it, Josh.
Look, I need to get the guard out of the way. Could you call back and ask him to get the painter again?
Okay, I'll call back soon.
This looked like a good place to watch things develop.
Hey, you! It's the phone.
Yeah? Who is it?
How should I know? What am I, your social secretary?
It's not a chick, is it?
Yes, it's a woman. Are you going to answer it?
Does she have a warm, sensual voice like molten chocolate?
Yes, she has a really sexy voice. Now get a move on.
I'm not talking to her.
I can see that. You're wasting time talking to me.
No, you don't understand. I refuse to talk to her.
You refuse. You refuse. I'm wasting valuable time.
Don't make me laugh. Your time valuable? You just stand around all day.
I have a highly responsible job. Pah, don't pah me, you elephantine oaf. My job is important.
Impossible. They would have hired somebody competent in that case.
Meaning what?
Instead of which they hired a dismal rent-a-cop like you. All epaulettes and no brains.
Why, you...
This looked set to carry on for some time. It was too good an opportunity to miss.
Some planks used to make the catwalk were leaning against the wall. I couldn't see anything useful to do with the planks. Oh, great. More dead people. Although the gendarmes weren't likely to pull in any suspects unless they had a time machine. This guy must have been here for centuries. No, thanks. I think I'm carrying enough junk. In the middle of the floor was a weird mosaic, all swirling and distorted. Close up, the pattern didn't make any sort of sense. It fanned out around an axis point, a kind of focus to one side. Now there's a familiar face. There was no doubt about it. It was the same sort of idol I'd seen in Syria, Baphomet. The Templars had certainly been through here. And there it was, decoded by the curves of the chalice, the image of a church. I found out what the chalice was for.
You've solved the puzzle?
Yeah, there was a distorted picture at the Baphomet site. When I viewed it in the polished surface of the chalice, it changed.
What did it show?
A picture of a church with a square tower. I guess I'd better return the chalice to the Countess.
Hurry back, Georges.
I'd been planning to return the chalice anyway, but I hadn't expected the trail to bring me here. The Villa de Vasconcelos was as picturesque as ever. The weather was still clear, and Lopez was still watering the damn lawn. I was beginning to suspect that he was surgically attached to that hose. Hi there, Lopez. How's tricks?
Senor Stobart, how pleasant to see you. You are well.
Fine, thanks. Is the Countess in?
She is waiting for you. I will show you up.
It's okay, I know the way.
Senor Stobart, I feel I owe you an apology.
No, you don't.
I was impolite on our first meeting.
Look, Lopez, just forget about it. I came on like a snake oil merchant. I wouldn't have trusted me in your shoes.
You do not understand. Finding the chalice has given my lady a new lease of life. It's a marvel. She smiles, she laughs. The tradesmen are saying that she is on Prozac.
Hi, Lopez. Got a minute?
Certainly, senor. How can I help you?
What's the story behind the chalice vanishing?
When the Inquisition raided, in the absence of Don Carlos, it was believed that they had taken it. Naturally, they denied the charge, as they denied taking the children. And naturally, nobody believed them.
But they were telling the truth. The chalice was hidden from them. You don't suppose they were telling the truth about the children as well, do you?
Madre de Dios! I had not thought of that. But then what happened to them?
I don't know. If the Inquisition didn't take them, then who did?
You must speak to my lady of these.
Count on it. So the Countess feels that the curse is lifted.
I would not put it so strongly. Your discovery of the chalice was proof that the Templars never abandoned the de Vasconcelos. It counts for a great deal with my lady.
I've had the chalice polished.
Oh, it is magnificent.
Catch you later, Lopez.
Adios, Senor Stobart.
It was a small mirror hanging over the sink. From the scum in the sink, it looked like he shaved there.
Senor Stobart. Oh, what a pleasure. Please, sit down.
Hi, Countess. The pleasure's all mine. I've brought back your chalice.
Why? You've had it cleaned.
Yeah, I met an obliging priest with a soft cloth.
Have you resolved the Templar mystery?
No, not yet. I don't even know what it is I'm after.
There are many stories of the knight secreting great wealth away.
Whatever. All I know is I don't want the bad guys to get it.
Ah, to be young and live in a world of moral absolutes.
There's still the mystery of the missing chess piece.
I do not think that it will ever be discovered unless the fate of the children is revealed.
The Inquisition were suspected of taking the chalice and the kids, right? We know now they were innocent of the first crime. What if...
They did not take the children either. Then what happened to them?
The Inquisition admitted to killing Don Carlos's manservant. Now, this guy had been told to protect the kids at all costs, right?
That is correct.
I think he hid them and the chalice when he got wind that the Inquisition was coming. With him dead and Don Carlos driven mad with grief, there was nobody left who knew the secret. You know what this means, don't you?
I fear so. The children are still here somewhere. If this is so, then it is small wonder that the de Vasconcelos are cursed.
There's something else that I discovered carved on Don Carlos's tomb. Biblical references.
What are the references, Senor Stobart?
Psalms 32:7, Corinthians...
I am not a good enough scholar to know the Bible chapter and verse. I meant, what are the quotations?
You know, I forgot to ask the priest. I discovered something amazing with that chalice. In Paris, I found a church where they recognized the coat of arms. I found the tomb of Don Carlos de Vasconcelos.
You are sure? There can be no mistake?
The coat of arms on the chalice matches the one on the tomb.
Incredible. You have my most profound thanks. I must go there as soon as possible.
Yeah? Well, I'd be happy to show you the city. Does this mean anything to you?
Nothing at all.
I'll have a look around if that's okay.
My home is your home. I shall remain here.
The fire was made up and ready, waiting for the year to turn cold. It was way too warm to light the fire. Beside the fire was a stack of logs for fuel. Now, what would I want with a bunch of logs? Military hardware, medieval style. I came here to solve a mystery, not go jousting. There was a boar's head over the fire. It didn't look very happy. Must be hard to look happy when you're wearing a chimney breast. Now, what the hell was I going to do with a hog's head? An old grandfather clock stood against the wall. I doubted the Templars had hidden anything in there. There was a bookcase, bureau kind of affair.
I didn't recognize any of the titles, apart from an ancient edition of Don Quixote. It was a large window with shutters. From the window, I could see some sort of balcony. It didn't look like it was used too often. It was a large window with shutters. From the window, I could see the garden, including Lopez, who was still watering the damn thing. The Countess de Vasconcelos seemed a lot happier than the last time we met. The chess pieces had been removed, and the Bible returned to its resting place. The candles had been lit. The Countess's way of saying thanks to her ancestors, I guess. It was the Spanish Bible I borrowed from the mausoleum. The candle had burnt brilliantly, but only for a couple of minutes. Some kind of special formulation, I guess. And had yielded up this. A complex shape expertly cut in stone. I figured it was some kind of key. It was a smooth, intricately carved piece of stone that had been concealed inside the great candle. George Stobart, grave robber. No, I don't think so. Hello again. Mind if I sit?
Please, be my guest.
What do you make of this?
It looks like some sort of key. Where did you get it from?
It was buried inside the great candle in the mausoleum.
Inside it? What have you done to it?
I, lit it.
But it is irreplaceable.
Listen, the candle was to be lit in case of Moorish attack, right? Well, it burnt down in no time and revealed this key thing. Maybe that was the real purpose of lighting the candle.
What are you suggesting?
That lighting the candle was the equivalent of break glass in case of emergency.
Sentiment must not stand in the way of solving this mystery. You did the right thing.
Here's the Bible from the mausoleum.
Very well. Let us begin. The first reference.
Psalms 32:7.
Thou art my hiding place. Thou shalt preserve me from trouble. Thou shalt compass me about with songs of deliverance. My hiding place.
Don't get your hopes up too high. This might just be leading us to where we found the chalice.
You are right, of course. The next.
Okay, John 4:11.
John 4:11. Here. The well is deep. The next. Quickly.
Okay. Corinthians 4:5.
Here it is. Will bring to light the hidden things. Any more?
Just one. Psalms again. 22:21.
Save me from the lion's mouth, for thou hast heard me from the horns of the unicorns. The last is confusing. Lions, unicorns, what does it mean?
I can't guess.
Salient points seem to be a hiding place and a deep well. In no sense is the mausoleum a well, Senor Stobart.
Is there a well in the grounds?
I do not know. I suppose that there must have been once upon a time. Lopez is the man to ask about anything pertaining to the estate.
I'll just have another look around.
Very well.
Hi, Lopez. Got a minute?
Certainly, senor. How can I help you?
Do you know what this is?
No, senor. Is it some kind of key?
Yeah, I think it probably is.
Where did you get it?
It was hidden inside the big candle in the mausoleum.
And you burnt it? I wondered what the light was I saw through the window. My lady will be furious. The candle was centuries old.
No, it's cool. She realizes how important finding this key is. You must know just about everything that there is to know about this place.
See, I have lived my whole life here in the service of the Vasconcelos.
Do you know of a well anywhere around here?
A well? Si, senor. This used to be a fortified villa. How can you last a siege without water?
Great! So where is it?
How should I know? The well was covered over in the last century. It was dangerous, you see.
And you have no idea where it was?
None. It was hidden even before my grandfather's time.
You must have a vague idea of where the well is.
It must have been in the old house's courtyard, so that would put it around here.
Here? Okay. Now, how do we find it?
There might be a way. Let me think about it.
Any ideas yet?
We are looking for a source of water, see?
Yes.
For generations, the Spanish country folk have had a secret way of locating water, even if it is meters beneath the ground.
Ah, you're not talking about water dousing, are you?
Eh?
You know, you get a stick and walk around until the stick twitches and dig there.
Oh, you've heard of it.
Yeah, I think most of the planet has. Okay, let's get a stick.
Uno momento. It must be a special stick, a Y of hazel.
Right. Do you have any hazel trees?
See, here. That is hazel.
I borrowed your mirror. I hope you don't mind.
No, senor, if you think it will be of help.
Catch you later, Lopez.
Adios, Senor Stobart.
The tissue was pretty charred, but the grease paint had done most of the burning. So that was what a hazel tree looks like. I went over to find a suitable stick. I don't believe it. There wasn't a single usable Y-shaped branch on the whole damn thing. It looked a lot like a hazel tree. I went over to find a suitable stick. Aha! It was a thin, supple twig of hazel. Hi, Lopez. Got a minute?
Certainly, senor. How can I help you?
Well, I got my divining rod. Now what?
Simplicity itself, senor. Hold the wand at the upper ends of the Y. Apply a little tension with your wrists so that the slightest movement of the wand's tip is clear, and walk slowly and steadily over the area.
Sounds easy enough. We'll find this well in no time.
Senor Stobart, you've found something.
This is it. This is where we find the secret of the Templars. Hidden here for hundreds of years. Lost from the sight of man until now. The mystery is revealed.
It's a tin can.
I've been walking up and down with a twig in my hands, looking for a tin can.
It had water in it. That's what the dowsing stick must have detected.
I'd have to check with an archaeologist, but I don't think the Templars left that.
In truth, Senor Stobart, the loan was laid many, many years ago. This can could date back to the Napoleonic Wars.
Get rid of it and I'll try it again. Lopez threw the can away. It seemed to fall an awfully long way. The splash at the end confirmed what we both suspected. Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle.
It has been here all the time. All those years and nobody found it.
Stood in awe for a moment, marveling at the secrets all around us.
I could have fallen down that.
The well had been lost for decades at least. The air was cool after the noon sun, but that's not what gave me goosebumps. I have a really, really bad feeling about this. Thinking back to how long it had taken the can to fall to the bottom, I stayed as far from the edge as I could. It was a long way down. The brilliant midday sun shone almost directly down the shaft, and I still couldn't see the water. I'd already risked my neck with one death-defying leap in Syria. I wasn't about to push my luck again. Sometime in antiquity, there'd been a rock slide. Big ones. I wished I'd had a hard hat. I'd need tools to move all that stuff. Heavy equipment that just wasn't available. A great stone lion's head with a gaping maw full of fangs. As far as I knew, nobody had cast eyes upon it for centuries as it stood, waiting in the cool shadows. The words of the psalm kept running through my head, "Save me from the lion's mouth." From a distance, the lion's head had been impressive. Close up, it was frightening. Hey, one of the fangs is a separate piece. A great stone lion's head with a gaping maw full of fangs. As far as I knew, nobody had cast eyes upon it for centuries as it stood, waiting in the cool shadows. The words of the psalm kept running through my head, "Save me from the lion's mouth." I could hear the sound of a lot of stone moving, and I knew I was in danger. Oh, very funny, you psychos!
Signor Stobart! Signor Stobart! Are you all right?
It's okay, Lopez, I'm fine!
Que susto me has dado! You gave me a scare!
Nice try, Templars. In the deep shadows, it was hard to make anything out. I wished that I had Leary's flashlight now. It just felt like a pitted stone wall. I'd almost been killed for the sake of a red herring. There, in the middle of the door, I could see some kind of socket. It looked like this wasn't quite the dead end it had seemed. That rock face wasn't nearly as natural as it felt. In the reflected light, I'd seen part of it as worked stone. Open sesame! Another secret door! Before I left, though, there was one last thing to do. You won't be needing that replacement piece anymore, Countess. I found it with the children. You'll probably want to be alone for a while. I'll be out in the garden with Lopez.